Okay, so here we are in example 1, again for graphing linear equations in standard form. And here we're just going to practice graphing this graph for y equals 4. So if I were to make an xy chart, and in this equation there's no x value, I'm going to choose always that my answer is 4. So I can just pick 3 numbers. I'm going to pick -2, 0, and +2. So no matter what, because this is my equation, y is equal to 4, no matter what my x value, y is always going to be 4. So there's my solution. Okay, so if you ask yourself, is this a function? The answer here is yes, because none of the x's will repeat. Okay, so let's graph this. If I go -1, -2, 1, 2, -1, -2, 1, and 2. I'm just going to do a quick little graph. I'm going to plot these points. -2, 4. Oh, I got to go up to 4. 3 and 4. So -2, 4. And if I go 0, 4. And if I go 2, 4. Well, I have my 3 points. I take a straight edge, a ruler, connect them, extend the line, and draw the arrows at the ends. Sorry, it's a little messy. But you get the idea. It's a horizontal line. Okay, let's take a look at x equals -2. For this one, this means if I draw an xy chart, no matter what, x is going to equal -2. So we pick 3 different numbers. How about -2, 0, and +2 for my y, but x is always -2. So I'm going to go here, -1, 2, -3. 1, 2, and 3, -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3. And anyway I look at it, x is always going to be -2. So my points are -2, -2, which is right here. -2, 0, and -2, 2. So there are my 3 points. I take my straight edge, my ruler, line it up, draw your line through those points, extend, and arrows. And if you don't do that on your quiz or test, then you're going to lose major points when it's a linear function. So that's example 1. Now let's move on. We're going to go to example 2, but before I could talk about example 2, you really have to understand what intercepts are. So intercepts, kind of like in football, if you have an intercept, an interception, right? It's where they stop the ball. Well, an intercept in math is just where the line, the point where the line crosses the axis. So in this case, the x-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the x-axis. In other words, it's where you have the point a comma 0, where y is equal to 0. The y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis, or 0 comma b. Okay, so that's the idea. All right, so let's take a look at this example. Okay, we're going to use the intercepts of this equation to graph this linear function. So this is kind of a quick way. When you have it in standard form, it makes it very easy. We are going to talk about other ways to graph it in slope-intercept form. But for now, we're talking about standard form, and this is kind of a quick way. And we kind of call it the cover-up method. Basically, I'm going to first let y equal 0. And when y is equal to 0, it gives me the value for my x. In other words, if y is equal to 0, we get 4 times 0, and bring everything else down, and then we could solve for our x term. So when I'm talking about the cover-up method, if I cover up this 4y, I get 3x equals 12, which is essentially what I get here when I plug in 0. So I get 3x equals 12. Solve for x by multiplying by the reciprocal, and we end up with x equals 4. Well, that means this is my x-intercept. This represents the point 4, comma 0. Okay, so that's the first point. My second point, I'm going to take this 3x plus 4y equals 12. And now instead of covering up the 4y, I'm going to cover up the 3x. In other words, I'm going to plug into this equation 0 for the x, which will just leave me with 4y equals 12. Solve for y and we get y equals 3. In other words, this is my y-intercept. Okay, this is the point 0, comma 3. So these are my 2 points. And since this is a linear function, because I can solve for y here, I can write it in the form of y equals mx plus b. And since I know that, it will make it very easy to graph it. So I'm going to just take a graph paper. If you just want to sketch it, that's fine. Woo! Sorry, guys. All right, so I'm just going to sketch it real quick on this graph. Sorry. All right, so the 2 points we had were 4, 0 and 0, 3. All right, just make sure I got those right. 0, 3 and 4, 0. So I'm just going to take this graph, and we're looking at 4, 0. Okay, so we go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4 at 4, 0. Okay, and I'm just going to zoom in a little for you. So that's at 4, 0, and the other one was at 0, comma 3. So this is 4, 0, and 0, comma 3 is 0, and then we go up 3. That's my y-intercept. So now I've got my 2 points, and this makes it really easy because now all I have to do, because I know it's linear, all I have to do is take my straight edge ruler, connect the 2 points, and draw a line through it. And then I have my linear function, and I've drawn my linear function. So that's the equation 3x plus 4y equals 12. That's what the graph looks for, that equation. Okay, that concludes example 2. If you go to the next video, you can watch example 3.